the smartest film critic in the world, Cole Smithy.
Hi, this is Cole Smithy with ColeSmithy.com and your guide to what to see and what to avoid at the movies this week. Man of Steel delivers a fresh approach to the shop-worn origin of Superman narrative originally published in 1938. Alas, fresh isn't quite enough.
A child dreamed of becoming something other than what society had intended. What if a child aspired to something greater?
State-of-the-art special effects are deployed to deliver the double theme of xenophobia manifested through eugenics, reference Planet Krypton baddie General Zod, played by Michael Shannon, who plans to repopulate his planet with the aid of Superman's blood, and America's anti-immigrant bigotry turned sideways against resident alien Clark Kent. The movie emphasizes that Superman is not human, much less the red-blooded American he outwardly appears to be, and has been depicted as in several iterations. Unfortunately for viewers, the film's collectivist themes are so overwhelmed by spectacle and pedantic storytelling that most audiences will barely notice their presence. Blame Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer for the flat story and by-the-numbers script, respectively. Director Zack Snyder's earnest reboot of the Superman franchise is visually appealing, but Man of Steel doesn't shift gears often or quickly enough to validate its nearly 2.5-hour running time. There are lulls. Boy, are there lulls. Still, Henry Cavill is well cast to convey the stoic charm of our Holy Trinity extraterrestrial protagonist, Kal-El, Clark Kent, and Superman. Cavill's imposing physicality, square jaw, and piercing blue eyes are perfectly suited for the pantheon of superhero comics' most iconic figure. Other casting choices don't go over so well. Russell Crowe flails in his role as Kal-El's powerful father, Jor-El. Here's a part that Ralph Fiennes or George Clooney could have hit out of the ballpark with panache to spare.
People.
You believe your son is safe? I will find him!
Sadly, we get the overbearing Crow giving line readings that sound like he has a marble in his mouth. Momentous visitations between Jor-El's immortal soul and the corporeal Kal-El provide old-fashioned exposition which informs the young outlier about the choices he must make toward fulfilling his hero's journey. For her leading lady role as Daily Planet journalist Lois Lane, Amy Adams plays the character ahead of the beat. Every line she delivers seems like an end run to a foregone conclusion. We never get to see her gears turn. Of course, there's the non-brunette issue. Why wasn't a more obvious choice, such as Michelle Williams or Jennifer Lawrence, made? Baby Kal-El grows up after being jettisoned to Earth in the wake of the destruction of his home planet Krypton by Zod. Kal-El's adoptive father, Midwest farmer Jonathan Kent, played by Kevin Costner, delivers a stern warning to Clark not to use his superhuman powers to save people lest he be outed as some freakish alien. Conformity is the key to survival in America. Naturally, a school bus accident on a bridge prompts the adolescent Clark to defy his patriarchal guardian's counsel. Clark Kent has his own sense of ethics to answer to. However, it isn't until General Zod and his army invades to hold Earth hostage in exchange for Kal-El that Clark makes his transition into the Man of Steel. We are told that the S on Superman's chest is a Krypton symbol for hope rather than the apparent first letter of his superhero moniker. Superman's ability to use his eyes as a laser isn't explained, but it gives the movie a kick in the sweet spot every time he turns on the fiery red beam during ferocious battles with Zod and his troops. Michael Shannon's Zod makes the movie happen more than the endless stream of falling skyscrapers that Zack Snyder is compelled to showcase for fear that the narrative isn't strong enough without so much cataclysmic destruction on display. He has a point. but it didn't have to be this way. Superman is caught between two enemies, the Earthlings that threaten to persecute him like the latest King Kong, another version of an undesirable immigrant, or the insane militarized bully from his home planet. Of course, it's a tough genre, as with all other comic book movie adaptations, save Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2, Man of Steel never quite connects tone, rhythm, and theme into a unifying whole.
An S. How about...
Excuse me.
That isn't to say it isn't an entertaining movie. It is. It just doesn't leave you walking out of the cinema with that breathless sense of transformative wonder you hope for as an audience member and need to bring you back. I give this fair comic book adaptation a B-.
I'm James Franco.
I'm Seth Rogen, hi.
We're in my bunker.
Because the Mayans said the world's supposed to end this week. Have you ever actually met a fucking Mayan? Why are we listening?
This Is the End exposes the narrow limits of self-referential humor favored by Generation Z comics James Franco, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, James Baruchel, Danny McBride, and Craig Robinson.
Franco! Good morning, sunshine.
As funny as they are, these are probably not the guys you want to squander your last few hours of earthly existence hanging out with. The movie starts out hot with laughs, but steadily loses steam toward a truncated climax that strains the film's already overlong running time. As foreshadowed by its apocalyptic title, the goofball narrative involves a Bible-thumping rapture complete with gigantic fire and brimstone demon beasts destroying everything on the planet, or at least in Los Angeles. If that happens to include a dangling demon dong of terror that must be castrated by a heaven-transporting beam of blue light, then so much the weirder. Fresh off a plane from Canada, Jay Baruchel happily reunites with his welcoming actor pal Seth Rogen. Seth is only too happy to supply a candy store's worth of weed, booze, and video games in order to make Jay feel welcomed at Seth's newly purchased LA pad.
Given in your last 6 movies, where the fuck was that in Green Hornet, huh? Jonah, you're an Academy Award nominated person. You need to be fucking selling that shit, dude.
In spite of Jay's lack of enthusiasm at the prospect of spending time at the party with Jonah Hill, an actor Jay says he hates, Seth convinces his buddy to come along to the swinging party at James Franco's bunker-styled mansion. Packed with celebrities, witness Paul Rudd, Aziz Ansari, and Rihanna, Franco's house party has a surreal quality even before the ground outside opens up to engulf many souls. Michael Cera steals the movie as a sex-crazed cocaine version of himself. When Jay catches Cera in flagrante delicto with 2 girls in the bathroom, the scene sets off the movie's biggest laughs. This Is the End is a stunt comedy filled with trashy throwaway comic bits created by unsophisticated minds. It's a shotgun approach that works well enough to induce more laughs than you'd expect from a typical Hollywood comedy. Still, the humor never approaches the Judd Apatow wheelhouse of comedy that many of this film's actors have shared in.
My own pee for the first time. And it ain't bad.
Our desperately troubled world could use more stoner movies like This Is the End, even if it does wear out its welcome before it's over. I give this fair comedy a B-. My sleeper pick is 20 Feet from Stardom, and my guilty pleasure pick is Sofia Coppola's The Bling Ring. My must-have DVDs are Dead Man's Burden from Cinedigm, Vivan las Antipodas from Docurama Films, and Of Human Bondage from Kino Classics. Chronologically, Ossie Davis's elaborate buddy movie Cotton Comes to Harlem marks the beginning of the blaxploitation era, but Gordon Parks' Shaft, made in 1971, is the movie that put the movement on the map.
Any kind of job is hard to find, and that means an increase in the well, fella.
Portraying a new type of black hero, a racial melange of Sam Spade and James Bond, Shaft gave urban audiences an icon, a handsome and tough-minded New York private detective who didn't take lip from anybody. A former football player and model, Richard Roundtree captivated the fertile imaginations of minority audiences hungry for a counterculture champion who could handle all the racism the system and the streets had to offer. He appealed to men and women alike. For its time, Shaft became an epic franchise, leading to 2 more franchise films, the relatively inferior Shaft's Big Score and Shaft in Africa, and 7 episodes of a CBS television series between 1973 and 74. The film's provocative tagline, "Shaft's his name, Shaft's his game," confirmed the title's explicit double entendre that the filmmakers used to attract audiences. Theirs was exploitation of a would-be audience's imagination rather than its subject, a fully independent embodiment of social justice, or at least the assertion of equal time in the bravado department. Isaac Hayes' funky original theme song, a classic in its own right, puts an equally erotic emphasis on the confrontational protagonist we first see emerging from a Times Square subway station to do pedestrian battle with traffic and hustlers alike. All sinewy bass line and wah-wah pedal guitar, the ultra-hip instrumental motif finally gives way to Hayes singing. "Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks? Shaft, you damn right." Surprisingly, considering the times, the song won an Oscar. The adult-minded movie arrives with a chorus of self-approval that lets its audience know where the filmmakers are coming from. The effect is that of a secret handshake unknown to mainstream media, authorities, or tourists. We're in for a rough ride through New York's underground with a badass anti-hero idealist who, for all intents and purposes, wears his cock on his sleeve. Can you dig it? In keeping with its pulp inspiration, the thinly constructed storyline is all tone, but not much substance beyond the way that characters comport themselves. Bumpy, played by Moses Gunn, is an uptown crime boss who hires John Shaft to find and rescue his kidnapped daughter Marcy, played by Sherry Brewer. Tensions are brewing between downtown mafiosi and the Brothers in the Bronx. Satirically, Shaft lives in a chic little Greenwich Village apartment where he frequently holds court with ladies of various races. The MacGuffin-fueled storyline is constructed in order to highlight Shaft engaged in some unconventional acts of super action. In one scene, he pretends to be a bartender before delivering a bottle to the side of a rival's head. Blood pours out. The payoff scene involves Shaft swinging in through a window on a bright red climbing rope, pistol blazing. Like the famous scene in The Great Escape where Steve McQueen jumps a fence on a Triumph motorcycle, Shaft's athletic expression of daring-do proves the point. Shaft is a bad mother. Thanks for watching, and visit ColeSmithy.com for more.